completing a flower in the style of Cy Twombly. So first of all, I'm going to try and get the background colours sorted. So I'm going to do a bit of the yellow background and a bit of the blue as well. I'm going to get a rough shape here, just so I've got a bit of colour in the background. So roughly sort of circular here, and then also I've got the drips from there. So I've got my rough circle shape there. I'm going to add to that in a moment. Now I'm just going to mix up a pale blue shade. So I'm going to use the blue that I've got on my palette here. And wipe off my brush. And I'm going to need to add quite a bit of white to that. Still not quite right, so I'm going to add a little bit of green to it as well. Back on the white until I'm happy with that colour. Keep adding to it. Okay, and then I can apply that. I want to make sure I've mixed up a reasonable amount of it. Okay, so I'm now happy with my base background colours. And I'm now going to try and get some of the yellow colour to bleed down the page, so it's dripping down the page. I'm going to try and get that effect with some of the yellow first of all. So what I'm going to need to do is first of all really add quite a bit of water to this yellow in the palette. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to blob a few of those bits randomly on my picture. And then what I'm then going to do is I'm going to add just the water. So I'm just dipping it in the water and I'm really adding lots of water. Now it's starting to drip already. So I might need to start holding it up. So it's going to start to drip down. So I'm now going to continue. You can see a few of those starting to drip. Keep adding water to them. Oh, there one goes. Now it doesn't matter if it goes below the square that you've drawn. Get a few more. Keep adding drops to the top. There's another one gone. That one's just going now. Some might need more water drops than others. Another one gone there. That one's stopped. Let's just add a bit more. Perfect. And I'm just going to go in with a few more of my yellow dots. I'm just going to keep adding water to those. Might need to give your paper a bit of a shake sometimes to get it to really drip down the page. And then I'll repeat that, keep adding a few more blobs of yellow and then lifting it back up to get those drips. Once you are happy with the effect of the drips that you've got from the yellow paint, you're going to need to wait for that to dry before you add the red. So the yellow paint is now pretty much dry, so I'm now going to go in with the sort of petal shapes here. Now Twombly uses a much more abstract style than O'Keeffe, and sort of gives the impression of petals. So I can tell by looking at it that it looks like the right formation as a rose, and it indicates at the top that it is. But there's no distinct petals. The petals are a lot more abstract. So I'm going to go in with this mid-red. And I'm going to start from the centre. Now I'm not going to copy exactly the picture here. I'm just trying to get the style of him. So I'm just going to really try and swoop those round. I can see there's quite a few sort of wobbly lines. There's some that are quite bumpy. I can see some with this thicker paint, some with this thinner. Some that sort of seem to go all the way round in a circular motion. As I'm happy that that's a reasonable likeness in my own way. I'm now going to repeat the same thing that I did before with the yellow drips. This time though, when I put my blobs of red paint on, so I'm just going to add a bit more water to that. Nice and super. I'm now going to add these to the existing paint that I've got on here. So I'm not going to put them quite as randomly as I did before. And just as I did before, I'm now going to start to add water to that and lean my piece of paper up, lift it up, and try and get those drips across down the page. So I'm going to go in with my water, and on each of those, I'm going to add quite a bit of water to try and get them to drip down. That one's going just there, perfect. Add a little bit more water to that just to help it over that line. I can always give it a bit of a wobble, perfect, there it goes. And the same with the others. Just going to keep adding water until they drip down. Might need to give a little bit of a line just to help it. Just move your brush ever so slightly down just to help it go down. A little bit more water there, perfect. Okay, and I'm going to repeat that for all the others now as well. Now, as you can see, this is quite messy, so do make sure that you're working on a surface that you're allowed to and that is easy to clean. What you might find is for a few of them, especially as you want to add a few more, you can now see where those positions are. You might need to just give them a little bit of helping hand just to go in the direction you want. So there I've just drawn a slight line, and now when I add water, they're going to go exactly where I want. Otherwise, they'll tend to follow where the paint already is. So if I put one there, you can see the paint's going to the other side. So I might just need to give a slight brush down before they go in the direction that I want them to. And I'll just repeat that until I'm happy with the number of drips I've got. So I've now finished with the drips, and I'm now happy with the likeness to the original painting by Twombly.